Thank you, Craig. Happy Easter, everybody. Final game of round 14, and in the nicest possible way, the Wolves are closing in for those who have designs on the Gallagher Premiership trophy. Second against fifth today. So pivotal times for Bristol and for Leicester. Let's not forget as well the backdrop to this, the Bears' decimation of the Tigers at Welford Road back in December. Now, a handful of late changes for Bristol, though Gabriel Ibitoye's return to action has been heralded with some fanfare. The winger's unique style has brought the Bears so much, and they're thrilled to have him back on the wing for the first time since January. The other headline returnee, AJ McGinty, another critical cog in the Bristol machine. A first start since injury against Tigers back in December. Up front, they were hoping to field Joe Batley at lock, where they've had some injury concerns recently. He's not made it. Josh Caulfield is drafted in. George Kloska back at tight head prop, and lots of quality in that pack, as we know. Just a single change to the Tigers line-up from their 15 that started against Sarries last time. Ollie Chesham back in a Premiership side for the first time since October, and he'll be bringing his international class to bear. So too Julian Montoya at hooker, for so long a talisman for Leicester, leaving for Pau next season in France. First choice back row, Van Portfleet and Pollard at 9 and 10. Pollard also now just a few weeks left as a Tiger. The back division nicely blended. Joe Woodward enjoying something of a breakout season alongside the abrasive Kata, and no shortage of straight-up gas with Hassel Collins and with Radwan. Head-to-heads, Sam.
Yeah, my attention draws straight away to the number 6s. Very different in their styles, but both integral to how their team plays. Luatua has been one of Bristol's best players ever since he's been there. But great line-out athlete, great in the loose. Liebenberg sets the physical parameter for that pack. Very different, but going to set the sun out for both teams.
There's one thing I can promise today, lads. I don't think it's going to be 3-0. We're going to see lots of tries. There's plenty of talent out there. But in terms of the illustration of who's on top, I think comes down to 2 number 9s. If Bristol get flowing, Randall will be running. And Van Portfleet over the last month or so playing some excellent rugby.
Lovely little match-up, isn't it? And particularly with the summer in mind, various tours that players will want to be finding their way onto, and Randall and Van Portfleet likely to be battling it out with England for some time to come, you would expect. So the Tigers starting today in 5th place. They were in 3rd at the start of the weekend. Of course, wins for Sale and Saracens yesterday, pushing Leicester down, and really tightened up that playoff race. It's big for both sides, this. It really is. Huge for Bristol, just 2 points clear of 3rd and 4th now. And for the Tigers, well, if they can take points off a side that's sitting in 2nd place, they'll give themselves a great shot at the top 4. 3 of their final 4 games are at home. Only Bath away, and they'll almost certainly be sorted out by then, you'd think. So potentially are toying with ideas about holding players back, keeping them fresh. Tight loss to Saracens last time out, remember, and a heavy defeat to Glasgow in the Champions Cup. It's just left us feeling not quite sure about their form, Sam. You could probably say that about both sides here today.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You mentioned the games that they've got coming up. Quinn's, this for Leicester now, sorry. Quinn's at home, then Sharks at home. So if they've got an away scalp here with 2 home games, they could put themselves in a really good position. If they can get even 2 wins next 3 games, in a really good position in that top 4. So much to play for everybody, from, it looks like 2nd to 6th in the table, which at the end of the league season like this now is brilliant for us as neutrals to watch.
The Bears, the great entertainers of this league all season, really, but they're about to have their title credentials carefully scrutinised over these next few weeks. Across the last 3 Premiership games, they've scored 135 points and they've conceded 126. If you don't know how Bristol play, that'll give you a gentle nudge in the right direction. They are irresistible when they're on a roll. The likes of Gabriel Ibitoye just lighting up the league. But there are always holes, always opportunities for the opposition. And it's going to be fascinating to see the way it plays out. Carl Dixon will be in charge. And one more reminder, just to pitch the context of this fixture. 54 points Bristol scored at Welford Road. And that has been preying on all sorts of minds in the Leicester camp. You can be very sure of that. Taken up for a first carry by Kalaveti Ravovo, one of those who ran riot in the previous fixture. And an immediate penalty given up by Leicester, the offside line breached. McGinty takes control of the ball, his first start in 4 months, such a pivotal figure. Injured his knee in that game against the Tigers around Christmas time, but he's just such a calm presence, and there is a real understanding all around him as he makes their game tick. Ogre with the delivery, taken in by Luatua. Here's Randall to Ibitoye, a little bit high from the one-handed challenge of Van Poortvliet. James Dunn, Van Rensburg. Back to the open side they come. This is George Kloska, who's been on some journey from the back row to the hooking position, now firmly established at tight head. Here's Ibitoye. Gensch, little show with some nifty footwork actually, and then the raw power gets him through to set it up again. Kloska once more, very strong carrier. England having a good look at him. He was part of the A setup just a couple of months ago. Wide from Van Rensburg, first sight of Diego Bailey, and some muscular stuff here, but he's struggling to shake off the attentions of Rafael. Dunn, little tip on to Mata, has gone forwards before it went backwards, and the Tigers rewarded for their defensive efforts.
It's a good shot from Reffel. Followed that again, and look, it's the Reffel shot that you spotted there, Ali, is what allows Leicester to get off the line. Does really well to try and get some momentum. Ennis Genge, they go to the opposite end of the field. Bailey bounced off the first tackle, but it's Reffel who gets in the second time round. Freddie Stewart just doesn't get his foot in right in that tackle technique, but here's a really good shot from Reffel, drives him backwards, then they're in the ascendancy, they can come off the line. And teams who've come here and done well, I'm thinking of Sale as the most dramatic example in the past, have been really physical with their defensive ambition, and Leicester have to match that to be able to contain this Bristol attack.
Bind. Set. Hold.
Not the most stable of scrummages, that's for sure. Bristol going early, so a free kick. Pollard, the kick pass. And lurking out wide is Adam Radwan, the newish recruit from Newcastle, of course. Cracknell, been so good this season. Gap, exploited. Van Poortvliet, he's away. Within 4 metres, and over they go. It's Radwan's try. It was Van Poortvliet's break, and the Tigers striking early at Ashton Gate.
That's outstanding. We mentioned Van Poortvliet right before the game, but the minute you get a quick ball and don't set your guards either side early, this person's far too quick, not just in thought, but on body. And that little offload there to Radwan, the arch poacher. Look at the acceleration over those 5 metres, just tearing away. And I love the fact that he backed himself one-on-one. That's a cracking score from Leicester Tigers.
It's not the worst of strike rates, and it gets even better when you look at it just in Tigers colours. Now 4 tries in 6 games for Leicester. Adam Radwan on the shoulder here to make absolutely sure of the score. Not quite the bend he was looking for, Pollard, but Tigers leading Bristol by 5 points to 0.
Okay. Oh, you've seen this a couple of times in weeks gone by. JVP really good around the fringes. It was Fitzhardy just a little bit slow to get there, and that's probably been some of the question marks around this Bristol team. Is the appetite the same to defend as it is to attack? Really well exploited there from Jack Van Poortvliet.
I think that the basic message from Bristol as regards their defence is that they accept, given the way they play, that there'll be the odd ball drop, there'll be a quick transfer from defence into attack from the opposition. They'll get picked off now and again. It's those sorts of scores that they'll be upset by, those soft ones that come off first or second phase. Chase back here for Ibitoye. In comes Lane. Has that gone forwards?
Yeah, I tell you what, that is a gorgeous kick from Freddie Stewart. I was expecting him just to put boot to ball and send it 70, but he puts it in that grey zone. Ibitoye just tries to pat it up.
Just need to make
a little bit confusion of him and Rich Lane there.
Settle. Okay.
But Leicester at the moment just exploiting that space and playing really smartly.
Settle when we engage. Let's go.
Just the smallest breakdown in communication in the back three, which is actually an area that Pat Lam was talking about in the week, being particularly strong, especially from Gabriel Ibitoye. His communication with his fullback and his fellow winger better and better, and it needs to be, of course, because the sort of rugby that he plays, you need to have everybody on the same page. It's not always that easy. This is quite the scramble. It's picked up by Cracknell. Chesham back in the Premiership picture after a long old while. Van Portfleet to Kata. Short pop for Woodward to run onto. Calavecchi Ravovo is there, and he's been trapped in at the base of the ruck. Henderson.
Who's there? Okay, use it, please.
Liebenberg setting off, but it's Stewart who's going to get closest to it. Ibitoye calls for the mark.
Yes, a poor kick from Van Portfleet, just too long.
No, he's not. He's not on the right mark. The mark is over here, not here. So I told him to move. If he was on the right mark, he would have been right, but he wasn't.
Montoya's got form of it. He did that at Kingsholm. He's bang on with the rules, and the moment you create that mark and you start moving, it's on to play.
You don't want to be unbraced when he's heading your direction.
He's like, actually, that's Montoya. Oh gosh, he's still coming.
Out it comes for the Tigers, and Kata linking nicely with Pollard, who's caught in the midfield. Ravovo again with an important defensive play. Kata tidies.
Okay.
Chesham.
Okay, advantage is over
once
now.
More. Another tackle from Ravovo. This is Cracknell now, cutting a hard line.
Okay, hold.
Not much doing on halfway, so to the air goes Pollard.
Still too long.
And once more,
okay,
the mark called by Ibitoye, who's itching for it, isn't he? He just wants to
hit something.
Moving. The spiral from Ibitoye. And Pollard is waiting for it.
Come out.
Judged it well. Randall.
Inside.
For Lane. Cracknell with the tackle. Here's Genge.
Don't pin him. Don't pin him. Don't pin him here.
Slow ball for the Bears. Lane at first receiver. Here's Dunn. Good drive. Finally brought to a halt by Liebenberg.
I'm not going to reward you when you're pinning the player on the wrong side. Allow him to roll.
Randall, little dab over the top, and Lane is hunting this hard. Where's the ball going to end up? Bit of a mix-up between Pollard and Stewart.
Should be a penalty. It goes off. Stewart into Pollard is in front of the ball.
Thank you.
The intervention from Dean Richards, our TMO.
Knock on.
Just lack of comms, isn't it? Just a basic lack of comms. They're the sort of areas that you think Bristol are going to really thrive on. That's a significant gain in territory now.
I'm more than happy
they'll iron those things out with each other, but one person needs to put a big voice on that.
Breakdowns. Allow players to move, don't pin them.
Let's go, Daniel, let's go. Let's go. One.
Fascinating matchup between Ellis Genge on the Bristol loose head. Former Tigers captain, of course, led them to the title a couple of years ago. 2022, and Joe Hayes on the Leicester tight head. England colleagues.
Keep it up, keep it high, keep it high.
It's there for Randall. Van Rensburg, hard and straight. McGinty's on the loop, throwing the dummy and carving through into the 22. Great field position this. Randall has a little go himself. Bailey chasing the ball. Van Rensburg.
Chest on chest, no head on head, on the ball.
Carl Dixon happy the challenge was legal. The Bears are beginning to tick. This is Ravovo, great acceleration. Brilliant footwork as well, out of the back. That is insane! Ibitoye with the try. Oh my goodness. Special, special, special.
Oh, this is why you've got to give this guy touches. He had 2 touches in the first 2 minutes, and Bristol showing their intent, wanting to get Ibitoye on the ball. McGinty does well. He could have given that pass on the inside. Nice pass on the back. The backs reload really well. Ravovo gets through. That offer, that's outrageous. Out the back, the accuracy to do that. It's high risk, but maybe it's not when you're a player of Ravovo. So, oh my gosh, he's not even looking.
It's insane.
That's incredible.
Silly. It's so silly.
Yeah, just telling you about, he's down, he's got his ankle.
Ibitoye's got his hands on his head. I mean, where?
What? He's got one hand on the ground, he's got 2 knees on the ground. He's not looking, and he's flung it around the back. And it's hit the man bang on the mark.
Forget the skill, the fact he thought of doing it. I'd be in a squeeze ball.
3.
The conversion not quite so special, but 5 points apiece. You almost feel like Bristol should be awarded a few more for that one.
This has got to be one of the best individual skills of the season. Tackle complete, yeah, whatever. Have that. Next thing, he's got an assist.
Hands off.
Amazing. Amazing. And Gabriel Ibitoye, who himself is no stranger to little magical moments, I think kind of flabbergasted by the Fijian brilliance. And now he's taken the restart and stretches out a long arm and is just showing off. Extraordinary. Van Rensburg for Bristol. They've got their tails up now. Lane decides that this time the boot is the best option. That's a great kick. Terrific kick.
Well, it's great balance in Bristol's game. They've had a little look. You can hear Leicester shouting, Randall, Randall. They play, and Rich Lane on his left side, so that angle on that left foot makes it really difficult for him. But it's a gorgeous kick. Uses that turf, which is a hard surface. It's a great 60-metre exit.
Tosha kicking out Chesson, and into the midfield they come through Hassel Collins, Radwan. It's brilliant. It's a 50-22. I think there was a general feeling that maybe that was going to head out on the full. Not a bit of it.
Well, if that's magic from the boot, the magic we had from Ravovo in the hands, just having another little look at it, because look at the picture which is in front of him. He's got nowhere to go. This is lovely from him to make the initial break outside Nicky Smith. Tackle's complete. Yeah, whatever. And then to flick it out the back, 15 metres to Ibitoye to set up a try. Insane skill.
Tigers looking for a response. Big miss pass from Pollard, and it's hit the deck. Very unfortunate for Stewart. It was a bit of an ask, and it's let Bristol off the hook.
Well, asking the question earlier, Benny was talking about in terms of Leicester and their attack. I'll tell you what, they've come here to play. They've really come into play. It's not always been accurate, but the picture that they want to show to Bristol is we're going to stretch you first and try and get to the width. And why wouldn't you? Adam Radwan on one, Hassel Collins on another, with Freddie Stewart at the back. They look excellent.
One thing you'll notice is Pollard, he's very rarely first receiver. He always lets either a forward or someone like Kata be that first receiver. And he's that second receiver, gives him the time and space then to pick that pass. Just watch how he sits in that second receiver role. Then he sort of pulls it into the 15-metre channels. He's been really getting their game going in those 15 metres, just pushing that ball, 2 passes. Great man to be that second distributor.
It's going nowhere. It's going straight up. Play it.
Mata controlling. Randall to McGinty, but ultimately it's that man Ravovo again. He'll be appearing in Tigers' nightmares, you suspect. Not just from Welford Road back in December, but from here today at Ashton Gate, chewing up the metres. Leicester, though, have recovered possession.
Time's over.
And Stewart gives that something from just outside the 22. McGinty uses Van Rensburg. A wall of white in front of him. He'll take them all on.
Use it, please. No, now.
Randall calling for support to his right. Montoya again looking to exploit any little hole. And the ball has been dislodged. Kata has it over the top to Woodward. Surely they have to score there. Goodness me. Tigers still get another shot at it, but they're making this look more difficult than it should be, you feel. Van
Don't
Portfleet
play him now. No, don't push it into him.
fishes it out.
No,
Strong
balls
line
away.
speed from Bristol. Montoya trucks it up again.
It's out.
Van Portfleet, Liebenberg. Little pause, and the scramble defensively has allowed Bristol to reset. Carried by Henderson. Hayes into Ogre.
Don't go over the top. Don't go over the top.
Again, the possession just a little slow for Leicester's liking. Big tackle again from Kloska. Now they wrestle onwards. They're within 5 metres, the ball dislodged. Van Rensburg's kick. And Bailey hunting Hassel Collins, who's got it away to Stewart. There's another defensive read from Ravovo. Can't hold him first time around. Van Rensburg goes in. Van Portfleet recycles though. Pollard looks for width on the bounce. Radwan will go round Lane. He'll skip through the tackle of Lane. One-on-one with Ibitoye. 2 more Bears arrive in the nick of time, and again Tigers are poised. Smith banged over by Kloska. Again the turnover, and Bristol want to play. Slipped away by Ibitoye. Lane, lungs bursting. Not many people in the same postcode.
Oh, this is on to go wide, but he's gone to the boot. Freddie Stewart, full of lactic acid. He'll want to get this off the pitch, or at least his forwards will do. No.
It's a weary trudge beyond the 22, and he thumps it long. Now then, Ibitoye, plenty of space in front of him. Crackle of expectation around Ashton Gate. Oh dear, what's that all about? That's crazy. That's madness. And it's an absolute gift for Ollie Hassel Collins. And a madcap succession of phases ends with a Tigers try under the posts. Brilliance from Ibitoye at times. There are flashes of madness too.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Rich Lane example in the same field position. He puts boot to ball. Compared to that, now Bristol have to stay true to themselves and the way they play, and Ibitoye is probably one of the best counter-attackers in the league, but they're not numbers up in this situation at all. And it doesn't look like a good position to throw that pass. Look, I'm speaking from a position I could never do the skill Ibitoye can do. But that felt like an example where you could just pin it 60 metres and put pressure on Leicester in a game which is getting a little bit hair and scare him. And Leicester do well to pick that off, Hassel Collins, but sometimes you just think, just put boot to ball when it's that loose. Put boot to ball, get some field position, which Bristol have lacked in this last 10 minutes.
10 seconds.
I've got to say, Sam, the space was on. It was absolutely on. I don't mind the fact he was running into that space. You often talk about, was it the decision-making or was it the accuracy? I thought his decision to run when everyone was out on their feet was excellent, but it was the accuracy of it. Goose steps, he's done Cracknell. You've got a 2-on-1 if you can find your man. So I don't think Pat Lam will be upset at the decision-making, but yes, we can work on perhaps some of the accuracy of it, but more often than not, he creates those moments, doesn't he?
Well, it's already crazy open, isn't it?
I guess a question to Oogs, if you're a winger, Oogs, would you be high like Hassel Collins in that defensive line, expecting them to play rather than put the ball in behind?
Depending on who you're playing against. Against Bristol, who want to run first, I get up high, and that's what Ollie Hassel Collins does so well in that moment. Against other teams that want to put boot to ball, but you have to defend your front line first before you're worrying about the grass in behind, and that's what Hassel Collins does, and does it so well. And if this goes out, which it won't.
Pollard's missed touch. He's found Rich Lane, and Lane, with a skip and a jump, has gone through Woodward, and he's causing all kinds of trouble. Picked up by Mata. Ravogo overran it that time. The ruck is set. Randall is waiting. Genge is there. The pop to Harding. Quick hands for Luatua. And then the ball dislodged by Montoya, and the Tigers have retrieved possession at a critical moment.
And Sam, to answer your question, this is what I think Hassel-Collins did so well in that moment. His patience in defence, he's on that half, he's like, what are they doing? The minute he sees Ibitoye get outside and compromise Kata, he gets up high in the line, catches that, and in a split second, it's the picture he painted versus the decision he's going to do. Gave himself space in case they wanted to kick. The minute he was committed, and I often think when you're a frontline defender, you've got to be 100%. You're either 100% right, 100% wrong. And if you sit somewhere in between, you're going to be wrong anyway. He was spot on.
3 of the top 5 try scorers with us here this afternoon, which, even across the first 20 minutes, has provided us with an awful lot of entertainment.
Well, they've given up defence for lens, haven't they, these lot?
Just wait for the water to get up before we choose time back on. Here's our mark.
Not unnaturally, particularly given the sunshine as well.
Okay, time back on, please.
Players taking just a little bit longer to regroup here for this scrum.
Oh, sorry. So you want a quick game, is it?
So it's a matter for discussion in and around the scrum. Carl Dixon probably feeling it a bit as well, I suspect.
Set!
Breakneck.
Ball's gone down on the spot, play it away. It's gone down on the spot.
From Portfleet. Hassel-Collins. Booming clearance up to halfway and a little bit beyond as well.
That's where a left boot is very handy to have in your back line. Just one pass, no phases, no messing around, just clear your lines by 50 metres, maybe a little bit more. That's a great kick from Hassel-Collins.
Picked up by Bailey. There's a late inclusion today with Jack Bates ruled out. Joe Batley ruled out as well. Caulfield taking his place in the second row for Bristol. Here's McGinty. Too much time to prepare for that. He's got it deep, but Pollard's chased back well.
Just happy to slow the game down, you feeling? And Leicester quite happy, I think, with going for line-out mauls, scrums, taking your time on marks. They don't want the game to become loose like the situation we just saw with the turnover. They want it to be more controlled, more set-piece based. I think that's why they managed to contain Bristol, defending well, targeting the ball in the tackle, just managing to slow things up ever so slightly, play the game at their pace.
Here's O'Gray. Started the bulk of all the games this season ahead of Harry Thacker. But that time the line-out's not gone to plan. That's a clever kick from Van Portfleet. Ibitoye's got his skates on. Radwan bearing down on him and muscling him back into the in-goal. How's he got that away?
See, that's a good offload, Sam. You forgive him for that. That is absolute...
Taken back in by Blue.
What? Scrum 5, what?
Yeah, let's just have another look at this. He's flirting with the touchline within the in-goal, I think. There, his shoulder, or at least the shoulder blade, I think, just grazes the whitewash. Radwan fired up.
Let's go.
It's a great chase from Radwan.
Keep our space.
There's the difference in intent, though, Ali, from teams. You know, like Leicester will think, right, kick chase on the halfway line to gain territory. Don't see it as a negative. And it works for them, where Bristol's IP is to run it more. And I just think you can see that's a great example of Leicester's game plan.
And they are well poised here. Bit of pressure coming on. They've got the scrum penalty. Kata on the bounce. Pollard to Stewart. Width on the ball. Hassel-Collins. That's a horrible bouncing bomb. always with the penalty in behind them. But Hassel-Collins will be livid that didn't pop up for him.
It's a walk-in.
It's a couple of times off first phase now. The passes just haven't stuck for Leicester. They're doing pretty well in line out, winning the ball in D, getting up in the air, winning another scrum penalty, ranked first in the Prem for scrum pens on their own ball, but just not quite crisp enough off first phase attack.
I know. Blue on the line, make your own gap.
Tosha takes aim, and Liebenberg does what he's been doing all season in the line out, sets up this drive. Catcher in the thick of it there. Liebenberg smuggling the ball back to Van Poortvliet. He's just having a little look up, and now he's darting through, and he'll rumble through the challenge of Harry Randall for the Tigers' third of the afternoon. Ruthless from Leicester, and a little bit too easy from a Bristol perspective.
Well, I think it's Van Rensburg who doesn't want to watch this. His only job there on the right side of that ball is Van Poortvliet. If that ball's in his hands, you do not move. And he knows he just smacks the ground, makes the error. Bristol do really well to stop them all. It was quite a good shift drive from Leicester. Bristol forwards reloaded. They stopped them more momentum, but it's just a one-on-one. Van Rensburg just watches the ball. Nice play, Van Poortvliet. That's twice he's gone through either side of the maul or ruck.
Looking really sharp today, Jack Van Poortvliet, and actually noticeable since he's come back from injury.
Looks like shoulder to shoulder to start with, Carl, but we're just checking.
Thanks, mate.
Still looking for those holes around the ruck, around the edges of the ruck, and exploiting what he can. Look at the scoreline though now, 25 minutes gone, Tigers leading by 19 points to 5. These were the trademark breaks, Hugo, that Van Poortvliet kind of made his name with in the very early days, and we just lost a bit of it, it felt, for a while.
Of course, that's the attention. Just checking this. Yeah, I think that is shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, that's what grabbed our attention, wasn't it? His speed and his dynamism in around that breakdown. Of course, he had that horror injury and the timing of it, which put him out of the World Cup.
It was a shocker.
But slowly but surely, he's finding his way back into some of his best form.
Bit of fortune for Bristol here. The ball ricocheting off a shoulder, and Mata inside the 22. Randall. Ogre. Third time ball in hand. Just the one try to show for it to this point. Ravovo. He's on his own, and there are 5 defenders. Rule nothing out, though.
Too long, let go, too long. Too long.
Kloska. Joe Hayes making a menace of himself defensively. This is Ogre again. Tigers holding this for the moment reasonably comfortably. Van Rensburg changes the picture. Ibitoye tries to slide beyond that challenge from Cracknell. Bristol have gone backwards here. Ravovo again being asked to come up with something special. Caulfield, Randall, Genge. Everywhere Bristol look at the moment, there are Tigers defenders.
But Ali, if you watch Leicester and what they're doing in defence at the moment, they're actually only putting one person in the breakdown and then just populating. They're getting men on their feet, knowing that Bristol want to play wide to wide. That's exactly what they're doing. Hence why a move and attack that started on the 22, they're now nearly on the 10-metre line.
Van Rensburg, they try to move it quickly. James Dunn rumbles to that 10-metre line, and Ibitoye, was that forwards? It was, from Van Rensburg to Luatua. And a victory for the Tigers' defence, smothering everything.
I think what Tigers are doing really well, Hugues mentioned it, they get a full defensive line, which is really important, so it's difficult to get that ball to the edge if you're Bristol, but they're targeting the ball in the tackle. You're not seeing as many offloads from players as we maybe used to. Luatua is one of them, just in shot there. But Leicester doing very well, and when they make that tackle, you target the ball at the same time. It means Bristol can't get their arms free, can't release that offload, can't get as much continuity in the game. As a consequence, Leicester can fill the field, get their space in, come off aggressively again. And it's just a continuous cycle. You've got to keep challenging and targeting that ball in the tackle.
Yep. Water off then.
So scrum imminent.
Water off.
And later on this afternoon. The rugby review imminent, 5:15 for the start of that one, where we look back at all the highlights of the round of 14. There are plenty of them. And don't forget a couple of exciting football matches this afternoon, this evening. 4:30, Chelsea head to Barcelona for the first leg of their highly anticipated UEFA Women's Champions League semi-final. And then a little later on this evening, we're at the San Siro, where Milan take on Atalanta in Serie A. 7:30, TNT Sports 1 for that one.
Just having a little look at what Leicester have been doing, how they've changed their attack. So Kata, we often see him as a person that just runs straight, and he does that brilliantly well. But today we've seen him turn the ball up and in behind with Pollard getting around the corner. So it's a massive difference in them being able to go massively direct, as well as putting the ball round the corner to get a little bit wider.
A word with Pete Hewitt in a moment or two, the Tigers attack coach. Up she goes for Ibitoye in the backfield, but Radwan did well to get up, and the ball is away into touch. So let's bring in Peter Hewitt. Pete, nice to talk to you. You must be pleased with the platform that your side have set to this point. They've looked pretty sharp.
Yeah, no, the lads have they've gone well. Obviously, our set piece is going well, putting some pressure on around line-out time, and scrum's going well. So on the back of that, we're able to play a little bit off it.
And I appreciate your priority is the attack, as we see Bristol pour forwards and McGinty within sight of the 10-metre line. Are you comfortable that defensively you've got the bases covered to handle this Bristol Bears attack?
Oh, mate, you're not always comfortable, but I think we're showing a decent line. You know, I'd probably like us to stay square on edges for a little bit longer and just present one line. Like, I think you know, they've got some dangerous runners, but our scramble's been really good, and we'll need it to continue for the whole game.
Lovely, thanks so much for your time, Pete.
Thanks, guys.
Dangerous runners, Ravovo prime amongst those, but they've run out of space on that far side, Bristol.
But they are containing Bristol. They really are. I mean, they've had a few different scenarios, whether it be off the top of the line out, then they've had counter-attack, and Bristol aren't making the dents. And I think fundamental to a lot of it is actually the level of physicality that Leicester have shown in the tackle.
Oh, and now Bill Matter is being robbed of the ball. That was some canny play, I think, from Hanro Liebenberg, just not letting him get away from the maul. Stewart drives it in behind Ibitoye again. It looks good. It looks really good.
50-22,
inside the 22 for a 50-22. Here's Liebenberg, who just did enough to disrupt Viliame Mata. But this from Stewart was really good, and it's given the Tigers the line out deep in that 22 now.
It's a brilliant kick. I tell you, the backfield coverage, how sloppy.
A tactical change being made by Bristol. Harry Thacker is coming on for Gabe Ogray. Interesting call. Ogray's been super dynamic, very, very effective this season. Thacker comparatively lightly raced. We know how good he is. Huge experience, of course. Former Tiger too. It'll mean a lot to him today to try and stick it to his former employers. Chesham in the middle of this maul. Van Portfleet uses Kata. Pollard tries to swing it wide. In danger of the intercept. It's gone forwards on the gather.
Yeah, that's tight.
Just a knock on in the tackle.
This is what I was told about with Pollard at second receiver. I think Ravovo knows this. That's the second or third time this game he's come out the back and hit Pollard man on man.
This side is where we need to hit. You need to bring
They use Kata as a front line runner. Pollard floats in behind him. They want to give him that ball so he can have that space to pull that ball over the top. But Ravovo has read it a couple of times really well. He's done great as a 13 in defence, stopping Pollard from getting that second pass away.
The alleged knock-on is arguably from the Ravovo tackle as opposed to from the gather.
Yeah, we don't have the snickometer in rugby, but I mean, it's slightly deflected, I think, of Ravovo's right forearm, but it's given Leicester, Van Portfleet, Andre Pollard, Freddie Stewart, who directly behind this scrum, an opportunity to be able to split the field and launch another attack.
You just can't take your eyes off this guy in attack, in defence, arguably cementing a place in Bristol folklore over the time that he's been here. It might take a little longer to make sure of that, but when we cast our minds back to the Pietaus and the Randrandras and the Vakatawas, they all had their moments. Pietau particularly, lots of them. But this guy, he's doing the same job.
Yeah, he really is. You've got to say that ability to be able to identify raw talent and then make it fit in a Bristol system is exceptional, because when Randrandra left, we're like, how do they replace him? Well, quite easy, actually.
Down in the front row, Bristol penalised. That's gone against George Kloska. So one for Nicky Smith potentially to celebrate, and eminently kickable with just 7 minutes to go in this first half.
Sam, considering Bristol set up to play super quick and they're not able to get the fluency or the ruck speed that they want, what would you be saying to your teammates now, because they don't have an entry foothold in the game at this point?
I don't think... Just listen to that conversation there. I don't think they're getting the speed of ball because they're not winning the physical battle. I think Leicester are doing so well in the tackle, and that's a big contributing factor to the metres made there. Bristol have only made 106 odd metres in this first half. They're normally at 400. But I think because Leicester are winning the battle in the tackle, they cannot get the speed of ball, which is when they're playing against the unorganised defence. Then there's a lack of line speed. It gives them time on the ball. It all stems from the tackle. If you can get your first 3 tackles right, your first phase tackle, your second phase and third phase, slow is so difficult. I think Bristol just have to find a way to be able to penetrate this Leicester defence, where there's a really good first phase carry, then they're away, but Leicester are containing them so well in the tackle.
Well, it's not been quite as comprehensive to this point of the job that Sale did down here, but the stifling of the Bristol attack has been very, very effective here, and you've got to hand a lot of credit to the Tigers' defensive mastermind, which is now Dave Kidwell, take over from Matt Everard, of course, who left mid-season, and the Kiwi seems to have got everybody on the same page in double quick time. Mighty effective, as you were saying as well, Sam, before kickoff. Just wonder, as the stakes get raised, whether defence becomes that much more important when the trophy starts hoving into view.
Well, there's an example. Tackle, ref on the ball, slows it down.
Here's Rich Lane. To halfway for the Bears. Harding. Captain of the side, the numbers are very, very impressive, but look at the commitment there to drop on the ball. No, Carl Dixon unmoved. Once more poked in behind Ibitoye. It's going to roll through the in goal, past the pigeons.
Your player dragged him over, which caused that. Scrum.
This is what I was on about. There was a tackle, then referee went on the ball. Look at Nicky Smith, he just makes it a mess. Once you make the tackle, it's only half the job. He's making it a mess, he's getting around, he's getting his foot on the ball. Your job's not done when you've made a tackle. How else can you affect the ball? You're never dead in the tackle once you complete it. Either get back in the defensive line, make a mess of the ruck. So it looks like nothing, but that's what they're doing so well to stop Bristol having any continuity.
Good ball. Come on, let's go, lads. We've got a ball, let's go. We're fine. Okay.
You've got to say, for Bristol, who haven't had the fluency, this is perfect for them. 60 out, full pitch, Ibitoye, Ravovo, Van Rensburg, all of that space with a dry ball. If they can get a good platform here, we could see them look to spread the ball wide.
Need that scrum nice and solid. Need Kloska taking care of business against Smith on the far side of the scrum. Mata picks up Randall, delivers to McGinty, Ibitoye on the shoulder, and in comes Bailey on a nice line and holds his feet well, drives through the tackle up towards that 22. Ibitoye comes in and plays scrum half for a while, and then Dunn's pass is disrupted and Lane has to tidy up. Oh, this is kind of bonkers. Controlled by the underside of the boot by Harry Thacker. I'm not sure that's textbook.
On the ground first,
and then the Tigers infringe, going beyond the ball.
They're so sloppy, Bristol. Like, they do some remarkable things. You have to accept they're going to get some things wrong. But just launching the ball off the floor, some of the line-out delivery's just been sloppy. For a team that's lacked fluency, Harry Thacker's shown a touch of Harry Maguire. And well, maybe not on Thursday night, he was decent off his head. But, like, come on, lads.
It's kind of wild at times, isn't it? Absolutely lethal when it all sticks, but at the moment, they're chasing a fair old deficit. Not actually been terribly strong here at home either. They've lost 3 from 7 in the league here at Ashton Gate. Over the top they go. Van Rensburg sets the target.
You've just got your hand on the ball, no lift.
Randall bringing in Mata. Once again, the ferocity of the challenge means the ball ends up in Tigers' hands, and Hassel-Collins is racing. With McGinty back just in time. He's kind of isolated and could do with some support. Bailey is there. Caulfield is going to need to do a job. And Harding arrives, and they've just about got the bodies back. Harding now has given another loose pass, and it's going to be gathered here by Hanro Liebenberg, and the Tigers will have a bonus point. And once more, Bristol handing points on a plate to their opponents.
White 3.
Okay, so looking at the tackle by White 3.
Yeah.
So looking at foul play by White 3.
Right, that's Joe Hayes who's been singled out. Dean Richards and Carl Dixon in conversation about that.
Okay, Dean, so I'm looking at upright tackle, am I?
Yes, tackle by White 3.
So looking at an upright tackle by White 3.
Oh.
Here it comes.
I think maybe that right foot step from Harding saves him somewhat. Hayes, perhaps, just gets flat-footed, doesn't he?
There is clear head contact. We're looking at a late step. Late step. We're looking at a late step. You happy with the late step? So let's play the top angle once again, Dean, and then we can go around now. Please. Okay.
The late step might
Happy
just...
with the yellow card for late step.
Yeah.
Okay, so
mitigate
I have a
here.
decision. Back on me, please.
So the colour will be yellow.
Yes, we do have an upright tackle. Yes, we have head contact. Yes, we have foul play because he's upright. It's a high degree of danger because it's head on head, but we do have a change of direction, which causes the player to tackle the wrong shoulder. So it's going to be
yellow for Hayes. Tigers down to 14.
So the difference is
as
in
a
that one, the
consequence,
TMO said it was shoulder on shoulder. I asked the question like I asked the question for this.
For the TMO, decide both.
I asked the question on this, I asked the question on that. So.
yeah.
It's the right decision. A lot of people upset here, but I think that is the right decision.
So the Liebenberg try chalked off. And they'll have to wait for their bonus point try. Leicester.
Keep moving,
Bristol
keep going.
given a little bit of a reprieve. It doesn't change the fact that they were still being sloppy, Sam.
Well, that was a perfect example of a defensive try. Great defence on the first few phases, deep in their 22. Then a great counter-up from Freddie Stewart to win the ball back. I think Bristol fans feel quite lucky, actually, rather than being 27-5 with 15 men on the field. There's now 22-5 with 40 men on the field. So I think that's a good result for Bristol all round.
Can they exploit that numerical advantage in the final seconds of this first half? McGinty fishes it out. Van Rensburg, Caulfield. Strong work from Van Portfleet. Luatua through the middle of the ruck, showing a great turn of pace as well. Offloads and moves it along to Heenan, who seems to be on the field now, and Mata gets it away. Here's McGinty on that 22-metre line. Only a handful of seconds left in this first half, and there's the turnover. And it's come from Nicky Smith.
That's time.
And the Tigers will go to the break with a big old buffer.
I promise there's no Welsh bias in this, but Raphael and Nicky Smith have been brilliant for Leicester in defence. Great break from Luatua. Used to seeing that a lot more. But there's the tackle from Raphael, and Nicky Smith gets over the ball, along with Montoya as well. Those three have been great at the breakdown.
Well, a great turnover at a really important moment. Down a man, having just lost Joe Hayes to the bin, and a defensive effort that's been very noticeable from the Tigers. Let's not forget, they've scored 3 good tries as well. Radwan, Hassel-Collins and Van Portfleet. 1 from the Bears from Mivitoye, but it's Leicester who lead by 22 points to 5 at half-time. Well, you might remember at the start of the programme we were talking about that game in Christmas time where Bristol really pulled Tigers' pants down. 748 metres made across the 80 minutes. They were at 401 metres at half-time. Today, they've made 301, so it looks like they're trying to do a similar sort of thing. It just kind of isn't working. And the Tigers have done an excellent job, of stymieing their game plan and starving them of oxygen and space, really, the sorts of things that Bristol absolutely crave. So they've got a 17-point buffer, which, by the way, if it finished this way, as we're seeing the success that Bristol have had this season playing against 14 men, and of course they have best part of 9 minutes now where that's happening with Joe Hayes off the field. If the scoreline was to remain as it is now...
We've got a head injury. Live, I've got 2 players nice and low making a legal tackle, so no foul play.
Agreed.
One more head injury to take a look at.
There's no foul play live. And
Yeah, it's a really good chase straight off the restart. And James Dunn just comes in here.
Quite clearly. No foul play.
Looks like a rugby incident to me.
They're both dipping simultaneously, aren't they?
We've seen a massive change in the body heights of players because of what we've asked them to do in the sanctions if you get it wrong. So often, previously, we'd see 2 players upright, and then we saw lots of players bent, or the ball carrier bent with the tackler upright. Now we're seeing ball carrier and tackler both bent, and that's why we're seeing a few more of those incidents.
So, as a consequence of the HIA for James Dunn, Jake Heenan is on, who actually came on briefly at the back end of the first half because of a blood injury to Fitzharding, and they need a tight head with Joe Hayes off the field, Leicester. So Will Hurd is on, and Cracknell is the man who's been sacrificed at the scrum for the time being. And testing old position. I just wonder if Cracknell will also be inspected for an HIA, given that those were the 2 who were involved. There it is, there's confirmation of Cracknell also undergoing an HIA. So Van Portfleet looking to clear from here. Liebenberg packing down at 8 and driving well from the base.
Stay.
Here's Will Hurd.
16.
Bristol offside, that's gone against Harry Thacker.
That's a great carry from Liebenberg, and they've gone straight back into the traffic of Harry Thacker deliberately, because they know he's going to be slow up from that scrum. You think that Leicester players have just held him in just that little second longer, so when they do play that ball back, he's going to be caught offside. It's a nice play from Leicester, who are a man down, buys them a cheap penalty. See, just holding them in there. They're desperate to try and get back on side. Job done from the Leicester front row. Smart penalty won.
And just to tidy up a bit of housekeeping, apparently the Cracknell situation is as we first described, rather than a head injury assessment. Anyway, to the front they go through Montosha, and the interplay with Liebenberg has worked nicely for them. Van Portfleet, who's having an excellent game, to the midfield, and it's spilt by Cam Henderson, and Bristol regain possession. A little bit of a scrappy start to this second half. I was about to tell you that if the Tigers manage to get the bonus point here and take all 5 points away, they will be level on points with Bristol. If they win by 17, which of course is the margin they're leading by at the moment, they will move into 2nd place in the table from 5th.
I'll step out your way.
So we've learnt that James Dunn has failed his head injury assessment. He won't be returning to the field. Heenan will stay. Tigers with just 7. And Bristol putting the squeeze on and winning the penalty. Randall just waiting before that arm was outstretched. Space opening up in the midfield, but unfortunately Rich Lane can't cling on.
Lost the contest. 3.
Been really good for Bristol, Rich Lane, Hugo, particularly in the absence of Max Malins, who they were hoping to have through this season. Nasty injury for him, and of course he's now heading back to Saracens.
Exactly the same as the first half against them.
He's been excellent in pretty much every facet.
He's a classy operator, and if you think of the profile of their wingers, they're unbelievable ball runners and great finishers, but you do need someone central to that to be able to orchestrate that, whether it's managing the backfield as well as putting the dots together when they're trying to create their attack.
There's Max Malins amongst the injured, with Noah Hewitt to his left. Max Lahif has come on for Bristol. Randall flings that out to McGinty. Van Rensburg, Ravovo, bit of space here. Brought down, pops it off the deck for McGinty. And again, it's loose in the midfield, and Luatua's got plenty to do here. Does a great job of it. And then the Tigers
come out because you haven't released him.
Are penalised. Chesham singled out.
Had the ball.
Sloppy from Leicester now.
Clearly he's fine.
All over them in defence. It's an excellent tackle from Woodward as Ravovo tried to get round him. And now Bristol, they've just piggybacked them into the 22, and this has got to be a time to strike.
Yeah, they could do with providing something for their home crowd here, couldn't they?
6.
Second best for much of the afternoon, but with a handful of flashes. They need something sustained here at Ashton Gate. Luatua got up, but it's Hassel Collins who's onto it. Forwards from Bristol.
Okay, use it, please. No
Leicester
hands.
playing with a knock-on advantage.
Okay, use it now, please.
Bailey and Ibitoye in the backfield for the Bears.
Time is over.
And Van Portfleet drifts it up the touchline. Here's Bailey going laterally and then trying to straighten. McGinty, Ibitoye. Van Rensburg running a lovely short line. Ibitoye floats it over the top. That one does work. Lane to Ravovo. Pins his ears back. He's away. Big, broad Fijian smiles. And Bristol back in this one.
And that's where the offloading game works brilliantly. It's Ibitoye and Van Rensburg. This is the first one in traffic on his way down. And Ibitoye with the basketball offload. It comes off this time. Lovely 2v1 from Rich Lane. Just drawing in Pollard. Makes it look so simple. Ravovo's got the wheels to finish that off. Plenty of games in the wing for him. But if they could get their offloading game going, get a good first phase, good dominant carry, they get that ball away, they can unlock players like these. Great play from Bristol.
That's all right, well.
9 tries in the Premiership now for Calavetti. Ravovo. He's joint level with Tom Roebuck, who of course got one for sale against Quins yesterday. It's the full 7 points banked, and the deficit now is just 10 points. Let's have a word with Pat Lamb, the Director of Rugby for the Bristol Bears. Pat, you needed that badly, didn't you? Is that the spark?
Yeah, we talked about it at half-time. You know, like, we gave away 3 soft tries, missing Van Portfleet around the ruck. You know, an intercept try when it was probably on. But hopefully we talked about getting back and playing as a team and getting into our structures, because we lost our shape a lot. So just put a bit of pressure on the backs to get the forwards organised in there, and then we can share the workload and play.
Did you feel that was kind of self-inflicted, or at least in part down 100%. To the Tigers' defence?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Don't get me wrong. Tigers are doing well, but, you know, definitely self-inflicted. And there's just some loose passes at times and skills. We spoke about it at half-time. We want to play our game. Just take some pride in your skills. I think Harry Randall was pretty clear about that at half-time as well.
Pat, I described some of your play in the first half as sloppy. Would that be fair?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely fair. Not only sloppy in our skills, but also loose, but also people in the wrong places. You end up getting tired, you end up standing around in bunches, you're not really just coming as a one-off and easy to pick off from Tigers. So, we just said, let's start fresh, let's get back in here and let's make sure that we get into our structures, our games, and share the workload. And the game's a lot easier when we do that.
Pat, I've just got to ask you, Calavati Ravovo, that offload, ridiculous.
It was pretty special, wasn't it? He does that quite a bit.
Great stuff. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, thank you.
From Portfleet to Pollard to Smith. Having an excellent game today, Nicky Smith, in the loose and in the tight. Woodward throws the dummy in the midfield. There's Thacker. Just a handful of seconds remaining before that yellow card elapses. It's a Bristol penalty. And there just seems to be a swing in momentum.
If they break the fight, we're fine.
Sam, that double effort in defence, how good.
No.
You don't have to tell me, Hughes. I love that. That's just giving Leicester a little bit of their own medicine. Just great. Again, it's that hustle at the ruck that I talk about. You just got to mess up that ruck. Is there a release? Maybe it's slightly... There might be some sort of millimetre release in there. I've seen those given as penalties, but look, they can go both ways. I admire the desire from Harry Thacker to make the tackle, get back on his feet, make an effect on that ball, and he got rewarded for his effort.
I think there was as much release there from Thacker as there was from Juan Martin Gonzalez yesterday as he picked Gloucester's pockets. But it was really important that Bristol won that decision, and they've been able to move upfield as a consequence. Luatua got up, but again it's gone forwards. And Montoya feeds Pollard, who is intent on putting width on it.
Straight out.
No advantage, it was taken back in, always under pressure, scrum. White ball.
It's good line-out defence from Leicester. They did the same against Saracens in the last round. Getting up in the air a lot, very good. It looks like just an unforced error from Luatua. They know Luatua is one of the primary jumpers for this Bristol team. And every time he's gone up, they're just getting men up, just getting in the eye line of Harry Thacker. It's not the best lift from Leicester, but just the fact Liebenberg gets up, Luatua claiming he's played him on the arm. But they're just disrupting that line-out balls. They know it's a key source of attack and possession for Bristol.
149th first-team game for Bristol for Stephen Luatua. 33 years old, still one of the best in the league for sure. Such high class every single week.
Bind. Set.
Tigers restored to the full complement now as Van Portfleet gets it away. Catter to Pollard.
13.
It's going to land in front of Lane, who'll run onto it nicely. And Ibitoye is providing the support, and wriggling through that first challenge of Matt Rogerson, who's on for the Tigers. Lane now for Bristol, tried to thread that wider to Ravovo. It's taken in by Rogerson of Leicester, and now Radwan. Oh, Mata can't cling on to him. And you can understand why, those feet are so fast.
Tackled him out of his boots.
Probably the only solution. Here's Rogerson, former London Irish skipper, up towards that 10-metre line. Catter. Woodward. Liebenberg. Patience in the phases here from Leicester. Montoya, well met by Caulfield. Pollard to the line. Catter. Woodward. Space in behind. It's bounced over Lane. It might go all the way through. It will.
5 metre scrum. It's come off Bristol. It's come off Bristol.
That took a deflection.
Yeah, it did. I think it's a 5 metre scrum.
Yeah, you're right, Hughes.
On the chart, on the first by the one by the kick.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just check.
Just down with the restart. I didn't know who it was touched by, so it's either a scrum back or it's a 5 minute scrum.
No.
So not that, from the original kick. I just want to make sure if it was touched or not. I just want to get the restart right. Yeah, touch.
It's in Mitoye's fingers.
Yeah, the wide angle shows a bit better. You see the trajectory change.
On that last one, a bit early, that, no?
I just thought it was going round.
But early,
Yeah, it's touched.
Well, a little bit of fortune for Joe Woodward and for Leicester. They'll take it all day long. The ball rolling dead, but because of the deflection, they've got a 5-metre scrum and lots of good options.
It's not just the 5-metre scrum, it's the dominance they have on the scrum to be able to launch. That puts Liebenberg, Katter and Jack Van Poortvliet all in motion, coming on to the ball.
Bind! We want stability, we want space, make sure we get it, please. Let's go again, quick reset.
See Katter just having a word now with
far side, just
Van
make sure we get that
Poortvliet.
space.
If they can get a nudge and Van Poortvliet can get to that first defender, it's going to be very difficult to stop this fella. But also what a brilliant decoy he adds as well.
Really found his feet with Leicester, hasn't he? Didn't quite have the same impact with Exeter for whatever reason. But as a hard-running 12, appreciate he's wearing 13 today, but effectively he does that job so well, doesn't he? Gain line bust, that initial gain line bust, so important.
Just going round.
Controlled by Rogerson. Here comes Katter. And he's very well stopped by Van Rensburg, actually. Here's Rogerson, though. Tackle from Heenan.
Don't touch him.
Grondona, Ben Grondona having a little dabble at that at the breakdown. Henderson. Rogerson again doing a lot of carrying. Pollard. Tigers stretching that Bristol defence as best they can. For the moment, it's holding up. But for how long? Van Poortvliet. Liebenberg again. There are 2 men onto each attacker at the moment. Bears again reassembling, and there's the turnover. Stephen Luatua doing enough right in front of the face of Carl Dixon. It looks like they might have an injury to Jake Heenan in the process.
All
right, next week's review, that's going to be one of the main clips, and the Bristol defence coach gets up. I thought it was brilliant, great first phase hit from Van Rensburg. He just stunts that momentum, you've got to stop it. You want it in attack, but you don't want it desperately in defence. Van Rensburg does so well. Luatua shoots out the line, does really well. Then a few phases later, he pops back up. It was a sloppy breakdown from Leicester. They all come off their feet. No one's looking after the ball. Luatua simply just comes in. You need one player to get rid of the threat, but another player from Leicester has to look after that ball. They didn't, and Luatua was there. It's a brilliant defensive set from Bristol. Great physicality, great competition on the ball.
Jack Heenan being treated his final season with Bristol. He's announced he's heading back to New Zealand in the summer, but
it was going around the other way as well, so it wasn't going forward on both sides.
They've been looking to him to play an important role in these last few weeks of the season. And Montoya with the tackle, I just wonder if he's fallen awkwardly off the back of that. Is that illegal?
Can't target the lower lip.
Blue 20, please.
Okay, so looking at white number 2 on blue.
The clear out.
Okay, thanks. Looking at a clear out by white 2.
Question mark over the legality of this from Montoya. As you rightly point out, Hughes, he cannot target the lower limb.
See, I don't think Montoya knows exactly where he is in relation to that ruck, and so he's just trying to get, and you see he releases straight away. However, it looks illegal.
Just Gallagher, can you give us some space, please? Okay. Okay, do you agree? I'm not
tricky one for the officials, this one.
Have you seen any foul play? Yeah, I'm not seeing any foul play. He goes to clear out the man, which he's allowed to do, and he tackles him. I don't see him dropping his weight on the lower limb or twisting him. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So, camera back on me, please. So, the player's legally clearing out on the legs. I don't see him dropping the weight or crock rolling this player. So, for me, it's no foul play, and we still got the penalty against Leicester anyway.
you have a take on that, Sam?
I think I agree with Hughes, actually. I think he just holds on to him just that little bit too long. It's like a metre beyond that ruck. I mean, Jake Keenan won't agree with it. Obviously, it's hurt his ankle, but I think once you play a player beyond the ruck and then you're suddenly not part of it, you can't just let him go. I think I would have liked to see Montoya just release him just a little bit sooner once he realised that Jake Keenan wasn't a threat. Maybe penalty's fair.
And you only make that type of clean out of desperation because you've not done your initial job.
Yeah, I think the positioning of it is interesting, isn't it, given that he's no longer part of the ruck, essentially, at that point, but he's close to it. Montoya is just trying to move anything and everything out of the way as quickly as possible.
Give us space.
Sense of urgency about it. However,
last time,
Bristol clear their lines, as we learn that Ollie Cracknell has in fact had a head injury assessment and he's failed it, so he will not be returning here this afternoon. In the meantime, Bristol with a drive. First time we've really seen this in action this afternoon. Chesham has somehow made his way through, and he's got his hands on Thacker. Randall, Van Rensburg, McGinty, Bailey, Lane, accelerating hard, Rich Lane, chased down by Radwan. Thacker, shackled very effectively by Rogerson. Randall wants it. Tigers scrambling possession here.
Yeah, use it now, please.
Proper dogfight on the ground.
Gotta go now, Jack.
And they call for Nicky Smith to
It's taken back into the 22.
apply a little bit of order.
Okay, use your foot now. Use it, please.
McGinty gathers. Bristol have 14 men on the pitch at the moment. That's their choice through the course of this HIA period. Bailey is caught by Hassel-Collins, and a really good clear out affected as well by Dan Kelly, who's come on. Bristol looking to move the ball still. Mata and Ravovo. Nice little exchange. In comes Grondona to try and assist. Lahif for Bristol. Again, the ball keeps spitting out without everybody being ready. Bailey now.
It's really where I'd like to see 9 and 10 get a grip of it. You're going backwards. You had the ball in their half.
I agree.
And you're not getting control of the game. And that's definitely not control. I mean, lads.
It's carnage.
I know. Nothing.
Knock on from Bristol, from Leicester, so Bristol will have the scrum, but really there was zero structure there whatsoever, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's the pressure on the ball that Leicester are applying. Kata's going to get the turnover, but look at the job of Reffel, how he shields him. So Kata goes in on the ball, but what Reffel does, he shields Kata, so it means the two clear-out players, they're effectively trying to clear out two men. So Reffel won't get that turnover. It's almost like an assist, but he does so well. When you get a good jackler like Kata over that ball, protect his back. Because that first clear-out player is never going to shift two of you. So great from Kata, but great shielding from Reffel as well.
William Montoya has come off for Leicester. Charlie Clare replacing him at hooker. There he is, wearing 16. Hanro Liebenberg now leading Leicester. Dan Kelly, by the way, on for Woodward in that Tigers midfield alongside Kata.
Jack Sutter. Crouch! Bind! Set! Yes, boys!
There's Dan Kelly heading to Munster at the end of this season.
Let's go.
Really nailed down the place that everybody expected he would within this Tigers setup. Just the solitary England cap.
Yes, lots. Come on, Charlie. Yes, Nick. Hit. Seconds. Come on, Higgs.
Crouch.
Wow.
Bind. Set.
Randall bears with a full complement now. Ravovo into Kata, who then finds that the Tigers' possession has gone forward. So Bristol move quietly and in a slightly disjointed fashion upfield.
But look how Kelly wraps his left arm around that ball. I sound like a broken record here, but it just paints the picture just how effective they're doing it. If Ravovo's carrying, you have to. We've seen what he can do already. You have to sort of like wrap your arms around that ball. They're doing so well there, Leicester. I think that's the best thing they've done all afternoon, is the way they've wrapped that ball, targeted that ball in the tackle. And it's really stopped Bristol's attack. It's been brilliant tactic this afternoon.
Seconds.
Don't forget the rugby review from 5:15 this afternoon, where you can catch all the highlights of the latest round of action, round 14 in the Gallagher Premiership, and a couple of football matches to let you know about Chelsea, Barcelona, in Barcelona, UEFA Women's Champions League semi-final, and in Serie A, Milan, Atalanta from 7:30. Van Rensburg to the 10-metre line for Bristol, who need a little something here, you feel, to add to the score from Ravovo in the early part of this second half. 20-odd minutes to play. Randall's box kick hangs not quite the distance he would have wanted on that, but it might work out. Bailey has it for the Bears. Randall looking to go himself down that short side. Not much change from Tommy Rafael. Lahif. Bristol needing a bit of direct punch. Maybe Genge can provide that. Randall, McGinty, Lane, was that forwards? Ravovo moves onto it. Ben Grondona. Ball loose, Tigers onto it. Van Portfleet's kick. Directly into touch from outside the 22.
If I was Bristol now, I'd slow this game down, put everyone in and have a chat. They actually look slightly confused in what they're doing, because I think that's a compliment to how well Leicester have defended. When they've tried to punch through them, Leicester have had the answers with their two-man tackles and their work over the ball. When they've tried to play wide, they've been sloppy at times. The difficulty with Bristol is that with 20 minutes to go, they have the weaponry and the skill to blow this game wide open, but you can't just sit and just rely upon it. You have to earn that in this game.
It's 10 points, which of course is just a handful of moments really from a Bristol perspective. But I just wonder if that change of, well, it's hardly a change of style, but it's just applying a little bit of pragmatism, isn't it, Sam? It's quite difficult to do if you are relentlessly looking for opportunity, looking for offloads, looking for everything in attack. And
we don't tend to see that pragmatism from them. It tends to be if plan A doesn't work, then do plan A better. Just seeing some substitutions now, whether they bring some energy. But this is a key moment for Leicester as well. They have to keep this defensive intensity, because 10 points for Bristol is nothing.
And Van Rensburg has made really good headway inside the 22. And Rafael has come up with the ball, as he so often does, burying himself in the dark places, and that is an excellent clearance. And Bristol rocked right back on their heels. What a turnover. Sam Warburton salivating.
Hugo's take this one. I can't do another one, Hugo. You got to take this one.
My Welsh friend did so well. But he is doing really well. I mean, Sam, it's one thing to steal the ball when you're on the front foot, but that is Van Rensburg going backwards and still making it first to the ruck.
Well, that's that relentlessness I was discussing. You can't take your foot off the gas in D. You have to keep it. It's been 60 minutes of intensity so far. The big question for Leicester is, can they do it for the 80?
It's Thacker who skipped free. He's got it between to his left, shows the ball, doesn't give it. Maybe that was the right decision. There was some cover there from Leicester. Can Bristol make the most of it now? Randall picks out Luatua. Van Rensburg, everyone's a bit static. Genge, Jenkins, who's freshly onto the field. Once more, Tigers go to work on the ground, and they've won it back. Just when you think they're creaking, they've come up with some big plays in and around their own 22, and Chesham lays it up again. 2 critical moments, you feel, that really could have swung the impetus back in the direction of the home side. McGinty still trying to create. Harding, the skipper, tried the offload, it's gone forwards. Leicester have it now. Too many errors, too many sloppy errors from the Bears today. Kata to Pollard, pokes it through, Radwan sets off, Ibitoye there too. And into touch it goes. I wonder if who that came off.
We spoke about their defence in the ruck, but this from Thack I think's excellent. People say should he have given it? Absolutely not, because Freddie Stewart drifts across, and it's Tommy Reffel. Without Reffel there, Freddie Stewart can't drift. So the two of them working in tandem, one running backwards, just marking off so well, and then Hassel Collins, and that's illegal actually because he's on the floor. But the work of the breakdown, and Leicester overall today have really excelled.
They look really hungry for it as well, haven't they, Tigers? They've scrapped so hard when that initial defence has been broken. They've recovered effectively. Rich Lane hobbling off, which will not please Pat Lam and Bristol supporters.
But you can imagine the messaging this week, after being embarrassed at home at Welford Road. Like, it really focuses the mind. Defensively, we've got to be on it, otherwise they can do what they've done previously.
Benjamin Elizalde, the Argentine, on the field for Rich Lane for Bristol, but Tigers searching for a bonus point try. Kata, Pollard, little stop and go here from Stewart. There's the bonus. Tigers breaking free at Ashton Gate. They've weathered quite a bit in the last 10 minutes or so. That could prove a critical score.
But here's a common theme. Liebenberg has been brilliant in line-out defence today. He wins the turnover just from getting players in the air. And then he just get the ball to space, and Freddie Stewart does the rest. But it's from set-piece dominance. Stewart just rounds Bristol. It's really good feet from him as a 2v2. Doesn't really have a right to get on the outside. Good set-piece pressure, good finish from Freddie Stewart. And you think that it's too early, probably. Knowing what Bristol's history is like here, they can score 3 tries from nothing. But it's looking very difficult for Bristol now.
It's okay, Carl.
It's off Bristol's line-out. They're working their line-out, defensive work, coupled with brilliant attack.
So again, Pollard slots the conversion. 29 points to 12, and a bonus point in the bag. Stewart will be delighted with that. He had the beating of Benjamin Elizalde. And should they go on to close this out, they will take all 5 points away. They will move up to 46 points. They will be level on points with Bristol, but significantly on points difference, they will have second place.
Interestingly, when Sarah was interviewing Michael Checker for the game, what you're focusing on is the basics, and they've done the basics so well. Kick, breakdown, set-piece defence, scrum. All those aspects of the game have been brilliant for Leicester. They've done the basics really well today.
Just feels like there might be a little narrative emerging over this weekend. The more muscular teams, the teams that have prioritised defence rather more, the Sales, the Saracens, the Leicesters, they've all come through really big contests this weekend, with the Premiership final in the middle of June coming into slightly clearer focus. Still scoring points, of course. 4 tries this afternoon, and Max Laheath trying to change the picture for Bristol. Mata. Van Rensburg and Jenkins beyond the 10-metre line. Ibitoye has come off the field for Bristol, which is why Kieran Marmion is occupying his place on the left wing currently. Here's Van Rensburg. Throws the dummy, goes through the hole, tries to link with Randall. Threads the needle beautifully. Randall scores, and Bristol fans still believe. They still believe because there's 15 minutes to play, and this side are capable of all sorts.
There's only Hassel Collins who we think he needs to step in and make that shot. Because if he does, Pollard steps in on Luatua, and fullback can take last man. But Van Rensburg does really well to find his man on the inside. But I think Hassel Collins just had to jam in, try and force that ball to the edge. But really good finish from a line break, and this game is far from over. I nearly said it 3 minutes ago. But you look at the scoreline, you know Bristol can score 4 tries in 10 minutes. So Leicester just cannot let up in D at all.
It's good from McGinty. Once again, there's only 10 points separating these two sides. Randall with the third of the afternoon for the Bears.
But it's excellent, isn't it? Massive fan of Van Rensburg and the typical trailing line you expect to see from Randall. Beware of the Bears. Only Bath have scored more tries in the final quarter than Bristol this season. So strap in for the final 13. It's far from done, Ali.
It's very much in keeping with the way the season has been going and with the way Bristol have been operating in this campaign. Anything could happen. That's going to roll all the way through from the Tigers.
Right,
big net gain for Bristol. Rice mile from Pollard. They're going to need to be on their mettle here. They can be sure of what's coming. They know there's going to be a blizzard of offloads and fast-paced handling.
It's interesting what Bristol might do now, because this ball is now effectively deemed to be in their own half. So you've got the 50-22 on. You split the field, you can split a McGinty and a Rich Lane. Actually, he's just gone off with the boot and try and get yourself in territory. If they get a decent scrum, you've got one of the best sniping nines in the league in Randall. There's plenty of pace out wide.
Crouch! Bind!
Rensburg and Jenkins lined up in the midfield. Elizalde is tucked in by McGinty here. Ravovo hugging the right-hand touchline, and Van Rensburg feeding it on the inside. Randall to Harding. Some question over the integrity of the Tigers' defensive line here. Fished out by McGinty. Here's Caulfield. Wrestled backwards by Ollie Chesham. Harding flings it out of the back door, and McGinty is there ready and waiting. That looked high from Solomon Akata. Regardless, it's matter for Bristol. There's confirmation from Carl Dixon of the penalty.
White 13.
AJ, please. So I have a high tackle. Do I need to look at any more than that, Dean?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ooh.
He's got a bit of history, Solomon Akata, in this department.
Similar to Joe Hayes, isn't it?
So we're just looking at the tackle number, is it white 14? Is that correct? Okay, so this I have the same process as the first one, yeah. John, you the same. So I have a decision already. So back on me, please. So we do have head contact. We do have foul play because it's a heavy bend, and he's upright. There's a clear step like the first one, so it's a yellow card.
Yellow for Kata. Second yellow of the day for Leicester. And with 11 minutes remaining, he will play no further part in the next 10. So Bristol have a golden opportunity now to make this count. And they have a penalty which McGinty's eyeing up the corner with.
Be very nervous if you're anybody involved in Leicester now. Seeing how potent Bristol normally are when they play against 14 men. That could be the biggest moment of the game.
Yes, you. Say that number.
Emeka Elioni on in the back row for the Tigers, with Tommy Raphael making way. What a good afternoon he's had to this point. But all Tigers fans will be anxious right now. Bristol capped in the 22. Lahif skips out of one tackle, but there's no avoiding the second one from Rogerson.
Nine.
Genj ships it on, and Thacker, that's forwards to Ravovo, but Carl Dixon doesn't seem concerned by that.
From 16.
From 16.
Blue, so
Okay,
play on.
advantage on.
Felt clear the advantage was being played, so the ball deep in Bristol's 22 now. Elizalde sets off, 3 men outside him, and Van Rensburg links really nicely. Here's Jenkins. Marmion. Good tackle from Ilione, and touch is found. And Bristol run out of space.
It's a big moment. It's great defence once again, but you see the threat of Bristol Bears, which you've already said, Sam. Score more points than anyone when they're down to 14.
No.
You kind of wonder from Marmion, is he going to put it on his boot? That's a cracking tackle from Ilione.
Off comes Joe Hayes on a permanent basis now. Yellow earlier in the game, so Will Hurd will finish the job at tight head from here for Leicester. Charlie Clare with the delivery. Not terribly straight, but no competition from Bristol, so it's all good. Van Rensburg now. Jenkins. Bears with their tails up. One-handed gather from Elizalde. Drives into Stewart. Needs to find a way to get to ground, you feel. Randall. Luatua now. Enveloped in the tackle from Will Hurd. McGinty, Harding, no way through Liebenberg. What a good tackle that is. Kelly involved as well. Van Rensburg, Marmion, driven back by Stewart. There's some really muscular defence here from the Tigers. They know so much hangs on this. Van Rensburg again, Jenkins again. Genge to Marmion, forwards. Edge of the seat stuff, isn't it?
It's tight. It's very tight. You can feel the tension, can't you?
Most other teams, it wouldn't be quite so tense with a 10-point difference, but with this lot, you know it is.
Time's off.
Ellis Genge making way. Jan Thomas on at loose head, and the former Tiger trots away. Thomas in his 14th Premiership season at the age of 35 now. Straight into battle in the scrum. The other factor here is the bonus point situation as far as Bristol are concerned. They dearly love to get one more try, to get the try bonus in the bag. Lose by less than 7, they can take 2 points away from here potentially. They'll still be thinking, you'd feel, with 8 minutes to play, that they can win the game, but those are the other options available. Rogerson clung onto by Randall.
Okay, use it, please.
Ben Youngs is on.
AJ, no thanks.
Elizalde. Space in the backfield. 50-22 is on. He's just overcooked it. Once again, these fine margins, Hughes.
Yeah, Leicester won't be in a rush. You see Ollie Chessum just getting the lads together. It's another really good option.
Let's go, come on.
Yep, 1.5 foot. All the difference.
So Rory McIlroy.
7 minutes left. Tigers still playing with 14 men, but
there was a competition.
This time the line out crooked, and Bristol getting into the air, importantly.
Yeah, that was probably an underthrow by about a foot. You can see Ollie Chessum wins that battle in the air quite easily. He's about 2 foot above Bristol because the ball is so low. So they've done the drill part. That's good. The lift and the jump is good. It's just that ball is too low. Maybe he's a little bit nervous. That's a poor line out, just giving possession away.
It's important this Bristol backline function. There's 3 changes to that back line from the starting back line that's there. But in these high stakes, 6.5 minutes to go, just under, they need to find that level of cohesion and, more importantly, the execution to be able to try and win this game.
Randall breaking. Van Rensburg to halfway. There's McGinty tearing through the hole, being chased down by Ilione. The offload is a good one. And it's Marmion who's dragged down just short of the line. Oh, there we go! It's Randall! Question marks over whether that was a clean gather or whether it was knocked forwards.
2 things to check, please, Dean. Firstly, that the tackle was complete or not, and then the actions after that, please.
Checking tackle complete and then...
First, and then the actions after that, please.
Yeah, got you. Here it comes.
So
Youngs and Hassel-Collins.
We don't need to look after the second part. So I have releases the ball and gets back to his feet and knocks it on.
Knocks it on, yeah.
Okay. No try, nothing.
So near and yet so far. That was potentially the bonus point score, and it would have given them 5 odd minutes to try and find the winner from somewhere. McGinty with a lovely break, though.
It's a lovely break. He is desperate to find support, and he finds it.
Let's go.
Randall does everything right. Tackle's complete, and then he's released. He releases the ball, but loses control, or maybe control of this game.
This is a big scrum. Big scrum for Leicester, either to win a penalty or just clear their lines.
James Whitcomb packing down on the loose head for the Tigers now. And replace Nicky Smith. It is a big scrum. It'll be reset as it wheeled round.
No one's gone forward, it's just gone round.
See, Wickham's left knee went to the ground there. I thought there might have been a penalty against Leicester. I think Bristol, so you can see Max Laheath looking very surprised at that call. I think he thinks he's got him. Bristol can throw everything at this scrum. As soon as that ball comes in, it'll be Mata who calls it in, and everybody will go. All in sync, all 8 Bristol Bears.
Let's go, Charlie.
Don't want to go early though, Sam.
Bristol have to give this everything. No easy outs. And there it is, an easy out.
They went early. Keep the discipline. They felt they had the nudge on, but you can't push until the scrum's set stable and the ball's in.
It's a crushing blow from a Bristol perspective. Pollard gives that as much as he can, and almost up to the halfway, in fact beyond halfway, confirmed by our assistant referee Christoph Ridley. Ellis Genge can't believe it. Time very much against them at this point.
Over 15.
To Luatua. Mata from Rensburg, Elizalde. Clung onto by Kelly. Randall desperate for the whistle to be blown and a penalty to be given. It wasn't going to happen. Arriving quickly now, McGinty. Van Rensburg. Delay for Jenkins, did well. Marmion on the loop. Extremely well read by Hassel-Collins, who is swiftly back to his feet into defensive mode. Van Rensburg again. Tigers raising it.
Need punch first.
Once more, big old intervention. It's gone forwards from Leicester. They are throwing heart and soul into this defensive effort,
It's in the tackle,
knowing that they're close to closing the deal.
time off, play down. The reason of that, I wasn't even sure if they knocked it on, so I was just giving you the benefit of the doubt to keep the ball, so I wasn't sure that's why.
Just worth stating,
there's nothing clear.
as it stands, Bristol going away with 0 points. They've scored 12 bonus points so far this season after 14 rounds, 10-point deficit. They're taking nothing.
And let's remember who they've got in the next few weeks. Saints away, You would expect Northampton to field a strong team on the ground. They rested the bulk of their first team this weekend, and you would think they would want one big run out before they tackle Leinster in Dublin in the Champions Cup. Bath at home, well, it is a home game, but it's at the Principality Stadium. Sale away, and then Quins at home. He might be done by then, but there's particularly three very, very tough opponents in the next 3 rounds for the Bears.
Yes, Jim.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
2, 2, 3, squeeze. Now, Jim.
Randall. Van Rensburg. Randall again, that worked beautifully. On the outside is Revivo. Hassel-Collins coming in, doing an excellent job. And Tigers go to work on the grounds. That's the turnover. That will give all Leicester supporters great heart. 2 odd minutes to play. 10 points the difference currently, but this sound really, really key.
Yeah, it's Hassel-Collins. Look, he sits off Randall, he buys his time, he gets a good tackle in on Revovo. I think Hassel-Collins has defended extremely well. Liebenberg's been superb all game, whether it's carry, tackle, line-out defence. But Hassel-Collins here does really well, buys himself some time and his team some time. Then it's great work right off the scrum for Liebenberg to get over the ball. But Hassel-Collins not getting the plaudits from his forwards that he probably deserves, Liebenberg does, but great effort from both players.
Well, just 90 seconds remaining. And they feel like the win certainly is off the table now for Bristol. Still the try bonus available, but another free kick awarded to Leicester here.
It's been 0 points in this sin bin period as well. Showed the graphic early in the game. I think it was nearly 9 points per sin bin. Bristol only achieved 7 points on the first, you take that. But on this second sin bin, 0. So in 20 minutes against 14 men, only been able to manufacture 7 points. I guess you've got to, probably both teams got to credit Leicester for that. But some of Bristol's own doing too.
The up and under from Pollard, brilliantly taken by Hassel-Collins. And maybe the Tigers are going to add some gloss here. Youngs dribbles it through, and Hanro Liebenberg running in the other direction.
Okay,
it's been deflected off Bristol, so that's going to be Leicester ball as well. Hassel-Collins again, I mean, Sam, you mentioned his quality in defence, and it's been a defensive masterclass, hasn't it, by Leicester. But then his air work off the back of that as well to retain the ball, give Leicester this territory. With only seconds left in this game.
Charlie Clare finds Ollie Chesham, and Leicester look to rub salt in the Bristol wounds. They've got an advantage, and now they've got another try, surely, through Cam Henderson. Tigers finish the job.
Grounding's good, Carl.
They put Bristol to the sword, just as the Bears did to them at Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, around Christmas time. But this win, given its timing in the season, feels hugely significant.
That's a great try from Leicester, great maul. Really good throw from Clare on this occasion. Finds his jumper at the top. This maul, the most important thing this maul does is the momentum they generate from moment one it goes forwards. I think it's Harding who brings it down. There's no other option. You felt that first 2 meters it was going forward, only a penalty was going to bring that maul down. Great maul setup from Leicester. Puts the nail in the coffin. And what is a very dominant and very impressive display.
Jamie Shilcock with the final kick of the game, bending it in quite beautifully to extend the scoreline. A huge win on the road for Leicester, revenge for Christmas time, and the Tigers shooting up the table into second. This playoff race gets ever tastier. They've scored 5 tries here at Ashton Gate, and they've beaten Bristol by 36 points to 19.